This is me. I set up Claygate Yoga Clinic in 2015, and I'm really passionate about health, healing, and happiness. So I like to connect with people in my community and send information out, and just do what I can in this world to make people happier and healthier. I specialise in sleep and menopause through yoga, massage, retreats and workshops. So welcome today. So this is your webinar on Unlock Your Natural Ability to Sleep. So this is your first step to understanding, finding the way forward, first step in your journey to sleeping better. A little snapshot of what we're going to cover today. So I'd like to check in with you, see how you're feeling, and then I'm going to be talking about the importance of sleep, what motivates change. These can be different as well, like the two of them. What you think is actually when I talk about the importance of sleep, and it's some really serious and big reasons why you should prioritize your sleep, but they tend to not necessarily be what motivates change. So we'll have a look at that. And then I'll be talking about the pillars of sleep and what things, a few more insights into sleep saboteurs and what things to avoid or reduce, or just having that information to make an informed choice. And then coming on to tools. So tools to help you, and we'll go through each pillar of sleep and give you some tools today. And then there's some next steps. So sleeping well, sleeping with ease is our human right. And actually, it's also the opposite is a form of torture, like withholding sleep is a form of torture. But we want to go to sleep with ease, wake up, rested, and this is our natural state. Sometimes we forget how to sleep. So yes, this is come from a wellness working group study, and it showed that 50% of staff rarely or never discuss wellbeing at work. So I wonder whether it is a topic of conversation for you. It's always really good to check in with yourself at the beginning of the day. This is something I do when I wake up, just take a few moments and see what mood there is, see how I'm feeling. Sometimes you can talk about this to yourself in terms of weather. So if there are clear skies, is it overcast? Is it blowing a gale of overwhelm or freezing extremities where you can't function? So it's nice to ask yourself how you're feeling and to increase that level of awareness. It's a really important way to manage stress, is to increase the level of awareness of how you're actually feeling and keep checking in with each other, whether it's somebody above or below or the same level as you, keep checking in. It's important to understand how well you sleep, and a really good way to do this is through a sleep tracker, which can really start to identify patterns of how you sleep. It's not just about sleeping, it's about the whole 24 hours and how you're spending that, whether you're working in line with your body clock or against your body clock. And a good place to start is by recording this with a sleep log. I have made a sleep tracker for you so you can use this, and I suggest that you use it for 3 to 5 days, maybe 1 or 2 days of the weekend, the rest of the days in the week, so that you can really start to see these patterns. You can start to see your mood, your energy in the day, whether you're doing using many tools or whether sleep saboteurs are coming in the way. So why is sleep important? Well, sleep is so important for our health. If you look at mental health, there's a reciprocal relationship. So if your mental health is not so good, then it's likely that your sleep won't be as good, and vice versa, reciprocal relationship. Equally with immunity and inflammation, poor sleep duration and disruption during the night waking substantially increase your likelihood of respiratory viruses and chronic health conditions, such as autoimmune conditions or cardiovascular or gastrointestinal disorders like IBD. So whatever your weakness is in your own body, this is likely to be exacerbated if you're not getting much sleep. Moving on to poor health and brain function. So many health conditions are made worse by stress. Greater difficulty with executive functioning, memory retrieval, and also making healthy decisions. So healthy decisions about what you eat, for example. So what are the real reasons that motivate people to prioritize their sleep or make any behavioral changes? Because quite often, even though these are really big factors, these are not the ones that really make people sit up and decide to change. So here are the real reasons. When your energy is really low or you're struggling with your performance, perhaps your memory is failing. Memory is a real sign of stress. So when you are feeling really stressed and overwhelmed, maybe coming into panic or overwhelm, then you lose that connection between the prefrontal cortex and the limbic brain, which is your ancient brain. So your body or your brain decides to prioritize survival at all costs. And when you're surviving, you need to run away or fight, but not remember things necessarily. So if you're not sleeping well, then that obviously we've all been there. It affects your level of stress. We want to actually get to a point where we decide to prioritize our sleep before things start falling off. So before we get to the stage of burnout and chronic fatigue that literally stops us in our tracks, no choice, or if we have heart issues or weight, diabetes. So all these factors, when they start to become personal and prevent you from functioning properly, this is where many people decide, yeah, this is time to invest in some sleep therapy or some healthy behaviors. So body, breath, mind, emotions, and soul. These are all layers of our human being, our human existence, and they all are all interrelated. So if you stretch out in the body, if you stretch out tension and tightness, you're actually also going to benefit from the mind and find more ease in the mind. It's really good to release stress and complete the stress cycle of if you're not sleeping well, if you get feeling more stressed and you create more adrenaline and cortisol, it's much faster to create these hormones and these chemicals in the body than it is for them to disperse unless you move the body. Movement is key to our functioning of our organs and coming back to balance in chemicals and hormonal levels. It's also important to think about what you need today, because you don't always need to do a cardio session or a weight training session. Sometimes a more gentle yoga session where you're in poses of rest can be exactly what your body needs. So bringing more awareness to what your body needs, and also what brings you joy. What are you most likely to do where you'll want to do it again and repeat it again and again, and want to do it tomorrow as well as today. So moving on to the breath, this is such a key pillar of good sleep. Your breath is, your number one tool to hack your nervous system and your physiology. By breathing more calmly and sending the energy downwards in the body, you're more able to calm the system. And by sending the arms up in the air and focusing more on an inhale, you're more likely to energize the system. So we can really come into controlling our nervous system and the state that we feel with the breath, and really quickly too. I'll show you some tools in a little while. Coming now to mind and emotions. So your mind and emotions affect your brainwaves, and we need the brainwaves to be nice and calm in order to get to sleep and stay asleep. We can look at tools from yoga, meditation, journaling to still the mind's fluctuations and give you a nice toolbox to use to bring yourself into a nice state of balance. And then moving on to soul. So what's really keeping you awake? Sometimes you can fix all the kind of logical stuff, but what about you? Ignore your soul at your peril. You are equally important. Are you where you want to be? Do you feel connected or isolated? Is something missing? And moving on now to sleep saboteurs. There's lots of things that can trip us up, but it's the kind of thing that if you get awareness of different factors here, that you can make a huge difference to how you sleep and then feel much, much better in your daily activities. So let's start with coffee. This is a really surprising one. If you haven't come across the life of coffee or the 12-hour factor in coffee, then it's a good fact. So if you were to have a double espresso at 8 o'clock in the morning, it would be half processed by midday. And by midnight, there will still be traces left in your system. Imagine having that double espresso at 4 o'clock or even after dinner. At midnight, you've still got half an espresso in your system. And there is a genetic factor when it comes to coffee. Some people they'll say, oh yeah, absolutely, I can have a cup of coffee or an espresso after dinner and sleep really well, no problem at all. And there is a difference. However, it affects the deep sleep quality. So if you want to enjoy the deep sleep as well as getting to sleep, then bear in mind that caffeine does have an effect because it tricks your brain and reduces the tiredness cues by binding to the same receptors as adenosine. So this is a chemical that tells your central nervous system when to rest. And equally in the morning with cortisol, it tells your system when to wake. So you want to have a caffeine-free evening, really, so that your melatonin can release, slowing down brain waves, dilating blood vessels, and getting ready for good oxygen flow through the night. So moving on to alcohol. There's a difference, obviously, between having a glass of wine to enjoy the glass of wine and having a glass of wine or 3 or 4 as a self-medication. Some people think, oh, I feel less anxious if I've had a glass of wine and then I can get to sleep more easily. However, be aware that there is a bounce back effect because alcohol reduces the production of GABA, this neurotransmitter in the brain and the body. And you need GABA to regulate emotions such as anxiety. So what you find is the body, having had the GABA reduced, the body will have this bounce back effect to get into homeostasis and go the other way. So if you wake up in the night, you can feel even more anxious. So the rate of anxiety can be higher. So just watch out for that. You know whether that's something that you struggle with, and that might be a good thing to do differently. You can switch it up and think, how do I want to feel, and kind of work backwards. That can be a quite nice way to get through. So light and dark. So your circadian rhythm is your body clock, and it's governed by light and dark. So I always, when I kind of start to settle down after dinner, plug my phone in and dim the lights, especially obviously in winter time when it's not daylight outside. But it starts to tell my system to start to slow down. So the brain waves start to slow down. The melatonin starts to release. That can take a couple of hours to just slightly like easy curve down to reducing reducing the stimulation around you. Screens, obviously, we all know about blue light from screens, but I think not only is it blue light that you've got to be careful of because it will reduce your melatonin release, but also the stimulation on your mind and your mental factors. If you've had a really stimulating day looking at a screen, do you want to then spend your evening dipping in and out of the phone and reading stuff that you might find stimulating, especially if you're catching up on news, which is generally bad news about wars going on that we can't do anything about, or governments making stupid decisions that we can't affect? So be careful for your nervous system. Your nervous system is designed to alternate every couple of hours between rest and activity. And we're in a society where we can kind of be on all the time. So we work through the day, and then maybe we kind of have a little gap then for eating or doing a different activity, and then coming back to the phone. So be careful, because you need to align with your body clock as much as possible to stay in a nice state of balance. So every 2 hours, we have this other rhythm, the ultradian rhythm. Your breath actually alternates through a dominant nostril every couple of hours. We wouldn't know this unless we've studied yoga, I don't think. So when we're breathing in and out of the right nostril, we're activating the sympathetic nervous system. And this is your fight, flight, or active state. When we're breathing in and out of the left nostril, or a dominant side of the left nostril, then it's more of a calming, rest and digest and heal state. And our body naturally does this every couple of hours, switching from a dominant right nostril to left nostril with a little bit of a balanced breathing in between each cycle. So the myth of time. Everybody's time is short. So it's a question of priorities. What's your style? Who are you as an individual, and what works best for you? I don't like rules. I don't like to set rules, the same rule for everybody. Think about who you are and what you like and what resonates with you. Do you like to put things in your diary so that it's literally blocked off, and you might get, if your phone's set up in this way, you might get a little reminder half an hour before this is coming up? Do you like to glue something to another routine? So maybe doing a breathing technique or an activity technique like exercise when you're boiling the kettle, or a tree pose when you're brushing your teeth. Do you like to glue it to another routine? Do you want a combination of factors, not the same thing every day, or some variety, some things by yourself, some things with friends? Or are you like a person who likes spontaneity? So think about who you are as a person and design something that works for you. So tools to help you sleep. This lovely acronym, I prefer it to SMART, which is a common business acronym. And it comes from a book of Yoga Self-Practice by Rebecca Anderton Davies. So yeah, set yourself things that are achievable. So in this webinar today, I'm suggesting some tools that are all achievable, all really easy to learn and to adopt. But it's really important to be kind to yourself. So these are designed with kindness in mind. See which ones work best. and go along with that. So, for example, I've started a strength program, 4-week strength program this week. And to be kind to myself, instead of lots of reps of different ones, I'm just going through all once. So I'm making my own rules to suit me and to kind of achieve the goal of repeating it tomorrow and not just giving up because I didn't really enjoy it. But luckily I did enjoy it. So I'm on day 2. So it's going well so far. So yes, staying in control of what you're doing and not adding more things to your schedule so that you feel more overwhelmed and that affects your sleep because you have less time, etc., etc. We want to put these goals in, these tools in place that make you feel better. Be specific, be really specific about time, about what it is, about when it is, or maybe being spontaneous. And absolutely, they need to be sustainable. So I'm not a big believer in short-term diets, and this is the same when you come to sleep. We want to put things in place that help you feel better and that make you feel good and that you want to do for a long time yet. So here's the tools. So the first pillar is body. So you want to move your joints every day. This you can do just while you're working. If you're on a call, we can start to just roll the ankles around. Just move a little bit in your chair. And with the body, if you stretch out the big muscle groups, you're also releasing tension from the mind. So this is a really good one, especially if you have restless legs, stopping you getting to sleep, to have a 5 or 10 minute stretch. You can do this on your bed when you've got into bed, or you can do it before you get into bed or after dinner, whenever you want to. Maybe when you're watching TV, you can have a bit of a stretch out. Stretch the big muscle groups because these are the muscle groups that hold more stress. So when we feel stressed, we send energy to the quads, especially the hip flexors, so that we can literally fight or flight. So this is our fight-flight system. And we need to disperse this energy. If we felt really had lots of stress in the day, then by stretching out these big muscle groups, we can disperse the energy and stop it from blocking our energy flow through the body. So stretch out your quads, your hamstrings, maybe inner thighs or outer thighs, maybe have a little bit of a twist, and open the arms, open the palms facing up, to just take an opening through the chest, especially if you're sitting at the desk for quite a long time and the shoulders are coming forward, or you're on your phone. You want to do the opposite and take the shoulders back. And also feel really nice to put a cushion between the shoulder blades to lift the heart, lift the chest a little bit more. So this is what a nice stretch out would look like in the evening. But how about when you've woken up in the morning and you actually want to energize a little bit more? So you could do simple morning movement like shaking it out, shake the hands, shake the legs, shake everything. Swing the arms from side to side, swing the arms forward and back, maybe do some windmill arms, bounce on the heels, jump around a little bit, maybe put a bit of music on and have a little bit of a dance. So this is just literally your 5 minutes, your 10 minutes in the morning, raising your heart rate, getting you moving, improving your mood, sense of joy. So just, we don't need to take very long to bring the body back into a balance and help our level of cortisol. So in the morning, if you're feeling sluggish after a bad night's sleep, then take a swish. It's not too much energy on yourself, but can really feel really nice and just start to move the energy around the body and help you to wake up. But equally, after a really bad night's sleep, it can be nice to come into what we call in yoga a restorative pose. So maybe lie down with your feet up on the sofa and take 5 minutes with conscious awareness on the breath. And just give you that little edge closer to waking up. And just a little tip that I've put there, be aware of what your body needs. Your body needs different things on different days. So for instance, do you want to be active or do you want a little bit more rest? And ladies, respect your cycle. So through the cycle, even if you're past and beyond the cycle, having a monthly cycle, actually you still have this rhythm through the 4 weeks. And in the first week, it's good to have some gentle movement, not just kind of hunker down and not move at all, but gently move. The second week is really good to rest and nourish the body, especially with iron-rich foods. The third week is really good for endurance activities. And the fourth week is a good time for high intensity. So you want to move the body internally before your monthly cycle begins again. So coming to the breath. So as I said before, your breath is a way to hack your nervous system from fight, flight, or rest and digest. So we can do calming breath work, or we can do energizing breath work. So calming breath work, examples of these could be ocean breath. So breathing in through the nose and then open the mouth and sighing it out. And as you sigh out nice and slowly, listen to the sound, breathing in and slowing down once more. You can try it with me now, breathing in, slowing down. And as you do so, you can imagine waves coming in and waves coming out. So as you breathe in, maybe the waves are drawing back and lifting. As you breathe out, coming up onto the shore. And imagine your favorite beach as you're doing this. You can close the eyes or you can keep the eyes open. In the office, people won't even know that you're doing it. You can close the mouth if you want and do it really subtly. Also calming is belly breath. So take your hands on your belly. This is also called diaphragmatic breathing. And we want the energy, especially if you're feeling stressed or anxious, which is an upward rising energy coming into the head, which can give you a headache as well. We want to bring that energy down. So by doing this, we can concentrate on a part of the body that is lower. So you can concentrate on the feet while belly breathing, or you can concentrate on the belly. So take both hands on the belly, and this time breathing in and out of the nose. And as you breathe in, see if you can push the belly out into the hands. And as you breathe out, draw the belly back towards the spine. There might be a pause between the breath at the end of the exhale and coming back in. As you do so, you can also imagine the diaphragm moving up and down. So as you breathe in, the diaphragm moves down. And that creates a bigger expansion through the lungs, so it really draws the breath in. As you breathe out, the diaphragm rises up, squeezing the breath back out of the lungs and out into the air. The third breath that I can show you now is called bee breath or humming breath, and it's making a sound on the exhale. Whenever we make a sound on the exhale, naturally your exhale becomes longer than your inhale. When your exhale is longer than your inhale, the breath calms the nervous system state. And conversely, when your inhale is longer than the exhale, it energizes your system. So we're just going to hum on the way out on the exhale. You can place your hands over the ears at the same time, and that really draws the attention inwards. It's quite comforting. It's quite nice. So it depends whether you're doing this working from home or whether you're doing this in the office, surrounded by other people. So let's breathe in, maybe. And then as you breathe out, humming out. So you hum all the way out. On Zoom, it sometimes cuts the sound, so I won't hum my whole exhale. You can do any of these breaths for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. It doesn't need to take much time in your day, but especially if you're feeling stressed, which can affect your sleep, you can take pockets of rest, pockets of breath through the day and make a really big difference to how you sleep at night. So right and left nostril breath, I've talked about before. Alternate nostril breath is a practice that we can do, alternating the breath and coming into a balanced breath. You can do this without alternating the nostrils, by just breathing in for 4, maybe pausing for 4, then out for 4, and pausing for 4. You can look at a piece of paper and the 4 sides of the breath, or you can just do it in your head. So let's start with the practice of alternate nostril breathing. So you're going to take your finger and your thumb and alternate, blocking one side or the other. So we're going to start by breathing out together. And then block your right nostril and breathe in through your left nostril, count of 4. Block, switch, and breathe out through the right. Breathing in through the right. Block, switch, breathing out through the left. Breathing in through the left. Block, switch, breathing out through the right. Breathing in through the right. Block, switch, breathing out through the left. So one round starts by breathing in through the left side. And then when you come back to breathing out through the left side, that's your one round. You can do it for several rounds, or you can do it for a few minutes, or 10 or 15, however long you want to. So the next breath here is really energizing. It's called joy breath. So just a word of caution, if you're really suffering from acute anxiety or a migraine or headaches, then take this one a little bit more easily, or you can do a modified version, which I'll show you in a second. So joy breath is 3 inhales in a row, followed by a longer exhale. And you can get up and stand for this one if you wish. So breathing in, arms go up, breathing in, arms go out, breathing in, arms go up, and then swish all the way down, forward fold, head towards the ground, and then roll up nice and slow, come back to standing. So we'll do that one more time, then I'll show you the modified version. Breathing in, 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 and then swish all the way down, head down towards the ground. Lovely, rolling your way up. So here's the modified version, which is a good version to use also during menopause. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and then swish all the way down, rolling your way back up to center. Excellent. So this is a way we can hack our states and help us to align a little bit more with the body clock, perhaps with our rest and digest, or our fight-flight activity. Coming on now to mind and emotions. So we have different ways to calm mind and emotions. So we want to restore our sense of calm. So if you think about repetitive thoughts, and often these are negative thoughts or things that are not processed. So we haven't digested our thoughts, so they keep coming back and keep coming back. And there's also another reason for that, and that is that the brain takes the easiest pathway, the path most trodden. So the brain is designed to throw thoughts up in front of your face, in front of your mind's eye. And it's up to us how we respond to those. We can just go, oh yeah, I've seen you before, swipe off. or we can attach and engage with that thought. So there's a difference there between having a kind of mindful gap between your thoughts coming up and deciding how to react, and being instantly reactive. So let's regain some more control over the mind. Instead of, if you have a repetitive thought coming up, you can either go, nope, seen you before, or you can have something ready to prepared to switch it out. If I think about this, I'm going to say this to myself. So this could be affirmations, or it could be just a kind of counterbalance argument, or you could have your best friend's voice on your shoulder to respond to whatever's being thrown up. Or maybe it's actually showing you that you haven't processed these thoughts, and let's do something else so that they get processed. Another tool can be to come to your senses. So often if you've got too much going on in the mind, we want to bring our awareness back into the body. So here's a technique called the bell technique. So feel your feet on the ground. So maybe wiggle your toes into the ground. And then bring your awareness to your breath. You can take a hand on the body, either the chest or the belly or both, just placing a hand and feeling the breath moving in your body. It might be nice to close your eyes or lower your eyelids. Feel your body expand on the inhale, contract on the exhale. And then open your eyes and expand your awareness. Bring your vision out into the peripheral vision. Peripheral vision is connected to your rest and digest state. So automatically, by taking your vision wider, you're coming away from your fight-flight state. Look around and see 3 things, name them. Look around and see 3 colours and name them. And then shut your eyes and notice 3 things that you can hear. And then feel a few things near you and just see how they feel. Are they soft? Are they hard? Maybe different things. And you've just spent just a minute coming to your senses. So when we've come to our senses, we've automatically relaxed our brainwaves. So our brainwaves in their active state, so the beta state, they're awake, you're alert, your brainwaves are zigzag, they're really active. And then by coming to your senses, you're coming more into your alpha state. This is a really nice state to be in before going to sleep. So you're relaxed, you're awake, maybe a little bit daydreamy, maybe you're imagining things. Delta is your dream state. So this is deep sleep. But first of all, theta is your sleep state. So when you wake up in the morning, if you're feeling really, really in a deep sleep, in a bit of a fog, if this happens regularly, I find that just changing the time that you go to sleep will mean that you're not in the absolute bottom of your sleep cycle when it's time to wake up. So that could even be pushing to having slightly less sleep so that you're not right in the bottom of that sleep cycle. Although be aware that the last 2 hours of your sleep, the last sleep cycle, is your emotional repair cycle. So if you find you're waking up early because you're feeling stressed, then it's better to respond and put some tools in place to reduce the stress, rather than because you've woken up early thinking, right, I need to get up and start working so that I can make a dent in the day's work. Because actually, if you're finding that you're coming towards a state of overwhelm and overstress, then that sleep cycle is really, really good for you, really important, because in your subconscious, your brain is naturally sorting things out for you. So it's that classic phrase of sleep on it happens in the last 2 hours of your sleep cycle. Meditation is a really great practice to have a sense of balance every day. So you can focus on the breath or a mantra. So it doesn't need to be something that you think, oh, I don't want to get this practice of meditation. It feels like I'm not that kind of person, or whatever myth you might have or thoughts you might have about meditation. Actually, we've already done some by focusing on the breath and coming into our senses. Another useful thing to use is mantra. So just sitting still, settling quietly, and repeating something over and over in the mind. So that could be attaching to the inhale and exhale. A classic one could be saying so in your mind as you breathe in, hum in your mind as you breathe out. And that has the meaning of I am that. So just nice and complete. Other mantras can be Sanskrit mantras that your brain doesn't attach any meaning to them because they're words that you're not familiar with. Or you could equally use that in different languages, or affirmations. So this is really a nice way to calm the mind. And if you do a little bit of practice most days, then you'll find it really, really useful. Journaling is a really great one for processing what's not processed in your mind. And there are different ways to journal, different things that appeal to different people. So find out what appeals to you. Gratitude journaling, this isn't all about, being, oh yeah, I appreciate joy in everything I do, and I'm that, that annoying positive person. That can just be at the end of the day, writing down one or two things of what you more or less feel grateful for, or what have I appreciated today. And I find that most useful when you're going to your little pad and you're not sure what you're going to write. And then you have to think for 30 seconds or a few seconds. And that starts to actually do something more clever, which is to train the brain to look for moments or little pockets of joy, and to look for things during your day where you can think, oh, I can write that tonight, or I could write about that tonight, or that. And it really does start to change the pathways in the brain for a much more positive life, actually. I find that brain dumping is really, really useful. This is slightly different to Captain's Log, which is literally writing a log of what you've done today. But that can be really useful if you feel like you haven't achieved very much. And then you write a Captain's Log and you're like, well, actually, I did. Or if you feel like you had some meetings in the diary and everything got bumped or changed or curveballs thrown in. And actually writing down your Captain's Log can really give you a sense of achievement for the day. So you can put the day to bed and get a good night's sleep. Or the brain dumping is literally a blank piece of paper and starting to write. And it's interesting because when you go to start writing, you might have something in your mind thinking, I'm going to write about this. And actually, when you continue to write, you write about other things that turn out, oh, that was on my mind, or that was bugging my mind. And once you've got them down on paper, then you're not attached in the same way. Your mind's not holding on to them because it's down and it's out. So just be aware that you are not your thoughts. You are aware of your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You feel your emotions. And in that way, you can do things to change the state that you are in. So I have a really nice quote for you here from a book called The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer. Just stop for a moment and see what you have given your mind to do. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes or lower your eyelids down and listen to these words. If you mistreat an animal, it becomes afraid. And that is what has happened to your psyche. You have mistreated it by giving it a responsibility that is incomprehensible. Just stop for a moment and see what you have given your mind to do. You said to your mind, I want everyone to like me. I don't want anyone to speak badly of me. I want everything I say and do to be acceptable and pleasing to everyone. I don't want anyone to hurt me. I don't want anything to happen that I don't like. And I want everything to happen that I do like. Then you said, now mind, figure it out to make every one of these things a reality, even if you have to think about it all day and night. And of course, your mind said, I'm on the job. I'll work on it constantly. Just open up your eyes. So we come to, in a sense, the big one. What's really keeping you awake? So are you in a place in your life where you want to be? I think this rises up, particularly when we hit decades and we kind of look back and go, am I where I should be? Am I where I want to be? You can ask yourself some questions. Who am I? What do I need? How can I serve or help others? This, in a sense, is a meditation as well, where you can sit with yourself every day and ask yourself those questions and see what comes up, your natural response every day. So sometimes if you feel this sense of isolation and disconnection, this sense of unease, this can be keeping you awake, a feeling of misalignment or not quite resonating. Or sometimes it comes to spirituality, a lack of faith or belief. Even if we don't believe in a religion or a God, do we have that sense of connection with nature or with the universe, or a sense that there's something much bigger than us? It can be really useful to find perspective. I have a few favorite books that can be really interesting and really nice to read. The Dharma Code by Simon Haas. Any book by Deepak Chopra. Also, affirmations can be really soul fulfilling and really give you that boost and that sense of connection with yourself. Maybe that sense that you've kind of disconnected to yourself, but coming back to yourself, tapping into something bigger. So there is what's called a serenity prayer, and it's used in the 12-step program for alcohol and addiction. It says, accept the things you cannot change, have the courage to change the things you can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So my advice to you is spend more time on activities that are soul-based or heart-based. What makes your soul sing or give you a sense of balance and integration? And it could be anything. It could be playing an instrument or singing or connecting with friends, swimming, gardening, anything that really takes you to another level. So we move now to the next steps in your journey. So this is step number 1. The next step could be tracking your sleep to get a true picture of your sleep, your mood, your energy levels, and maybe some patterns of what's tripping you up. I find a wellbeing plan is a really nice thing to do. So showing what you want to do, like daily or weekly or monthly, maybe putting something in on an annual level, maybe a retreat. But the key to this is having an accountability buddy. Someone who can check in with you and knowing that someone is going to check in on you. And coming back to a good mantra, this is a really good one. So write this down, repeat it, remember it, believe it. Practice, not perfection. Practice, not perfection. And my other favorite mantra that I keep coming back to and telling people about is to begin, begin. So if you're the type of person who prevaricates and doesn't like to start, just begin. And I have some resources for you. They're on my website, and equally they'll be emailed to you after this webinar. Sleep log and wellbeing plan. You can also get access to a roadmap to better sleep. So I'll send you a link, or you can find that also on my website on the sleep page. And I'm here to help you. So I'm here to offer one-to-one sessions, a 6-week program on sleep therapy. This can be a group or a one-to-one bespoke program for you. And I do sleep and menopause yoga retreats. So do get in touch, and love to help you. And last but not least, here's where to find me on social media.